Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
We are popping on here today to talk about a tool that I feel like is very useful right now with so much change. So, there's been about 6+ weeks of the stay at home order, and things are starting to shift in each state, and that can kind of feel uneasy as governors are coming up with new rules and regulations. And how do we who've been staying at home operate in this? So, we're
It's like we finally figured out how to be at home and be with ourselves and establish some sort of routine, and now it's going to get rattled again.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, constant change.
So, how are you feeling about that?
I feel like, as I was just saying, it's a little bit like I think there's the pain of what's going on right now. And I don't know about anybody else, but I feel I have friends who have lost friends to COVID. So it's that one degree of separation that feels closer. And there's that. And then there's businesses starting to open, which I understand is economically great. But there's this in between of what's the best thing for me as a human to do right now. I've been trying to do the best thing of staying home. And now from here, where do we go?
Mm.
And
I have some stuff I want to say for myself, but why don't we introduce the tool and then we can demonstrate?
I like it. Like it.
Okay.
Great. So one of the tools we're introducing from Heart-Centered Living is a heart talk. I am reading from below here just to give a real good definition as to what a heart talk is. A heart talk is a very structured communication process in which 8 agreements are strictly adhered to in order to create the safety for a deep level of communication to occur without the fear of condemnation, unsolicited advice, interruption, or being rushed. It is a powerful tool used to surface and release any unexpressed emotions that could otherwise get in the way of people being totally present to deal with the business at hand. It can be used at home, in business, in the classroom, with sports teams, and in religious settings to develop rapport, understanding, and intimacy. I'm going to go over now the guidelines for a heart talk. Start by asking people to sit in a circle or around a table. Designate an object, and in this case we're going to use this card that says live every moment, that will be passed around the circle to the person who will speak. Introduce the basic agreements, which include these. Only the person holding the heart, or in this case, this card, talks. Don't judge or criticize what anyone else has said. Pass the object to the left after your turn. Talk about how you feel. Keep the information confidential. Don't leave the talk until it's declared complete. A heart talk completes naturally when the heart makes a complete circle without anyone having something to say. And then I will go over this later after we have our talk of the results of having a heart talk.
Cool. So,
would you like to begin?
Sure. So, with the question on the table, really about how we're feeling about the shift that's happening, going back into living a new normal. I'm a healthcare person, and for me, I feel I'm afraid. I'm afraid for the spike that could happen if people aren't diligent about some of the precautions that would be given: social distancing, hand washing, wearing a mask. And I have friends that are in the healthcare world right now that are seeing some things that we're not even seeing on the front line, and I'm concerned that people won't take it seriously and that we'll end up with another spike. So I have some fear.
As I mentioned earlier, similar to your concern, it's this, we've learned a little bit about how to make sure we're not getting it or giving it to others there's still information being developed day in, day out, which kind of feels like sometimes paralyzing. Like you don't know what to do in some ways. And in this time of a shift, it can, for me, I'm like, what's the best thing that I can do to not harm others or harm myself? And it's just concerning to see how many people are being affected by this, but in so many ways, and it's shining a light on our broken systems. that need to be fixed, and there's not a simple answer. And I think because there isn't one, it creates a lot of fear inside me.
The other thing that comes up for me when I think about this is the need for self-care. I talked to a friend of mine last night who is a hairdresser, and her livelihood, she hasn't been able to hairdress or cut hair for a very long time. And she also has clients that are calling her and texting her saying, can you do this for me? And she's trying to figure out, she wants to serve her clients, but she also wants to maintain the guidelines, so to not contribute to the problem that we're having. And so she's struggling with how to do that. So I found myself in an education mode, going back into my healthcare worker thing and trying to help her be really clear about the knowledge that's out there that we have, as well as how to implement so she can do it safely for herself and the other person. And so her clients can get their nails done and get their hair done, even though that sounds vain. And I had an issue with that. Like, seriously, you're worried about your hair and your client's hair? But the reality of it is, that's a real thing. That's going to make us feel better. Like, I'm looking forward to getting my hair cut again. I haven't had my hair cut for 8 weeks. Not that it's a big deal, but yeah, so, yeah. And I really would love to go to a restaurant and have a glass of wine and sit and enjoy dinner. It's something I really miss, and I didn't realize how much I missed that until just now. Not just now, but
Hearing what you're saying about your friend, and also like the self-care, the feeling good. I feel like for some people, and including myself, there's a structure of work that provides a sense of purpose and a sense of grounding, that there's something you go to day in and day out and feel like you have routine and something you're living for. And I think right now during this time, we're learning to stay inside and deal with that. But mentally, I think for a lot of people, it can be beneficial to work. And yet I say that, and it's like, it's a huge concern about getting other people infected with COVID. But I think there's this, I think the whole side of things of people feeling good and wanting structure, it's a pull right now. And in you so talking about going to have a glass of wine, I too, like, I miss community in that sense. Like, I understand the beauty of having the technology we have right now, and to be able to have Zoom, to have meetings with friends, or see a webinar, or have a yoga class. But there's just something for me that's not the same. It's not the same as getting together and hugging somebody and looking them in the eye and sharing a meal and laughing just face to face. So that's some of the things that are coming up for me.
So at the same time, I have this incredible excitement, because what I've learned by being home more and not as busy as I was running around doing whatever I was doing, there was a lot of whatever I was doing that doesn't seem to matter anymore. And I'm excited about the integrating what I've learned in the being home part, both personally and professionally, and integrating it into what I do in the outside world too. So there's a balance there will be for me, I think, a balance between being out doing things and doing more stuff online and being more comfortable with that, and being home more and appreciating being home more, and yet still being able to go out and do what I want to do when I'm out. So it's more balance, I think. I feel good about it. Like, I feel good about it as long as I can deal with the fear part. And maybe my role in that is educating people about being diligent, or just taking care of myself, which has always been an issue for me. The self-care part is always a thing for me.
I relate and agree, this is for myself, that there's a tendency to do and go chase after the next thing and be busy for sanity. Like, oh, you know, for me, I sometimes am avoiding what's coming up for myself by going and doing something else. And I feel like this time is teaching me to lean into whatever's coming up, to see what that has to show me, and not just chase after the next thing to keep me busy. So I I am seeing an appreciation in this time to be more mindful in how I use my time going forward.
So I actually feel complete.
And I do as well. Perfect. So I guess my question for you is, how do you feel after doing this?
I feel good because I haven't really expressed that before. And that the not cross talking, no interruption. I know that when I hold on to that, I actually can be the only one speaking and nobody's going to interrupt. Is really sort of powerful. It gives me permission to share at a deeper level, maybe, and even take a minute to breathe and contemplate. How about you?
Yeah, I feel like it's been a release. Like what was in me that can be pent up sometimes is like now outside of me and I can view it. And there's been space for it around it to like sit there. Um, and as you just mentioned, like breathing through it and really thinking, is there anything else that's coming up for me?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a calming process.
Yeah. So I just want to share with the audience about the actual real use of this. Like we just did it, and any of you could do it in your family around the dinner table around COVID and how people are feeling. You can do it with kids. I've done it with teenagers who, just witnessed a fight in the cafeteria at school or a bullying incident, and they were angry about it, and we processed the feelings. I've done it in a classroom of kids that were very resistant to talking about anything, and it just took myself and two other people sitting on the floor, and the next thing you know, we had 20 kids on the floor. And when I asked them, I was with them for two weeks doing this curriculum, and I asked them, I walked into school every day, and all they wanted to do when I walked into the classroom was, can we do another heart talk? And they were actually, by day 3, they were all sitting on the floor waiting for me to get there to do another heart talk. And I'm like, why is it that all you want to do is heart talks? And they said, because during a heart talk, people actually listen to what I have to say. Mm-hmm. And so in any situation where somebody doesn't have a voice, or maybe emotions need to be expressed, I've had a friend of mine who did a heart talk when he was in the middle of delivering a training, and they all broke for lunch. Somebody got killed, and they came back, minus this person who had just been hit by a car and killed. And what was he to do? Just go right on for the training? Because that's emotions that people just would stuff away. And he did a heart talk as a tool to get people to talk about it. So when my mom died, there were several heart talks happening in my world to help me and other people express what was going on with that. So it's so many applications, whether they're really deep emotional stuff or just a daily check-in at the dinner table with, so how was your day? And everybody goes around and has their chance.
It's so true. I'm reminded often that really, as humans, what we really want is to be heard and to be seen.
Yeah. And to be valued.
Yeah, valued and held in that.
Yeah.
So it's powerful. I personally I've only been around this specific tool for a few years now, but I've used it with friends and even online with friends that live in different places. And it just feels good to hold space and to be heard. It's a very cleansing process.
Yeah, definitely. Cool.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.